Good evening. Welcome to our first Thursday event for April, and a very special one because it's one of our multilingual music and poetry nights called Verse Universe. We proceed now with the first of our performers, indeed two performers, who start off tonight's lineup at Verse Universe, and they are Shihab Ismail and Claire McBrien. Shihab started life in Egypt, and Claire is Irish. Both are part of the band Oliphant Collective, who've performed here at Sharmanka a couple of years ago. The poem that they're going to be performing is about missing and longing for home. It's written by a poet born in Egypt whose father was Kurdish and whose mother was Turkish. This person was exiled to Spain before World War I and wrote this poem as he missed his home and Egypt. I like this poem, says Ismail, because it proves that home is wherever you build relationships with people and places, and it's not where your parents come from, and also represents my feelings about missing so many places that I can call home. Please welcome Shihab Ismail and Claire McBrien.
The poet, actually, his name is Ahmed Shawqi. اختلاف النهار والليل ينسي أذكر لي الصبا وأيام أنسي وصفها لي ملاوة من شباب صورت من تصورات ومسي عصفت كالصبا اللعوب ومرت سنة حلوة ولذة خلسي وسلى مصر هل سلى القلب عنها أو أسى جرحه الزمان المؤسي كلما مرت الليالي عليه رقة والعهد في الليالي تقصي مستطار إذا البواخر رنت أول الليل أو عود بعد جرسي راهب في الضلوع للسفن فطن كلما ثرن شاعهن بنقصي يا ابنة اليم ما أبوك بخيل ما له مولعا بمنعي وحبسي أحرام على بلابله الدوح حلال للطير من كل جنس كل دار أحق بالأهل إلا في خبيث من المذاهب رشسي نفسي مجل وقلبي شراع بهما في الدموع سيري وأرسي واجعلي وجهك الفنار ومجراك يد الثغر من رمل ومكسي وطني لو شغلت بالخلد عنه نازعتني إليه في الخلد نفسي وهفى بالفؤاد في سلسبيلي ظمأ للسواد من عين شمسي شهد الله لم يغب عن جفوني شخصه ساعة ولم يخلو حسي. Thank you.
Our next performer is Sergiu Rotaru. He's from Moldova. He was brought up with two languages. He speaks Russian and Romanian and English. He says a little. He's quite good. He's going to read a poem in Romanian. The poem is about love and a man who misses his former girlfriend who is away, far away, and he asks her to come back. A little bit about Sergei. He's quite new here, and he used to work as a manager of a construction company in Moldova. He's very good with computers. So that's him starting his new life, and thank you so much for reading.
Rândunelele se duc, se scutur frunzele de nuc, se așează bruma peste vii. De ce nu vii? De ce nu vii? O, vino iar în al meu braț, să te privesc cu mult nesaț, să răzim dulce capul meu de senul tău, de sânul tău. Ți-aduce aminte cum pe atunci, când ne plimbam prin văi și lungi, te ridicam de sub suori, de atâtea ori, de atâtea ori. În lumea asta sunt femei, cu ochi ce izvorăsc cântei, dar, oricât ele sunt de sus, ca tine nu-s, ca tine nu-s. Căci tu înseninezi mereu viața sufletului meu, mai mândră decât orice stea, iubita mea, iubita mea. Târzie toamna-i acum, se scutur frunzele pe drum și lanurile sunt pustii. De ce nu vii? De ce nu vii? Thank you.
That was Sergiu Rotaru reading a poem by Mihai Eminescu, De ce nu vii? Why are you not coming?
Now, our next performer here at Verse Universe is a man who sung at a previous one of these events here in Sharmanka. I speak of Owen Macaulay, and he performed a story of Shaka Amar, who was at that time still a very long-held detainee at Guantanamo Bay. And since that performance, Shaka Amar is finally free after about 10 million years. And I'm not sure I could put it down to the Macaulay magic, but it's a nice thought that maybe that sort of helped a bit. And Owen grew up in Castlemilk on the south side of Glasgow and has made music throughout his life, both as a member of the excellent Smack Band, the Passkeepers, under his own name, and he's been involved in social work since 1985, working in an intensive family support service, mainly with adolescents and their families, especially where young persons are at risk. Teresa and Owen have 2 daughters and 1 grandson, he adds in the notes that I have about him, and the song that he's going to do for us is something which came out on a rather lovely album of his solo material about 4 or so years ago, I think, and this is called Emerging from Sleep. Please welcome Owen Macaulay.
Emerging from sleep into the room, the bed soft and warm, the bed soft and warm, another day. Your eyes are closed, your face in repose, your dark hair curls, your dark hair curls and rests upon your face. Your eyes open, look into mine. The smile in your eyes, the smile in your eyes spreads to your mouth. The sun outside is calling us out. We will turn our face away, slide over here into my arms. The girl's still asleep, the dog downstairs. stairs. Your eyes open, look into mine. The smile in your eyes, the smile in your eyes spreads to your mouth.
Thank you to Colm O'Mahony for a beautiful performance there. Our fourth performer at this Verse Universe event is Olga Dominguez, graduated in philosophy and social work. Mediedades is her first book, which gathers together poetry mainly written between 2000 and 2012. In 2000, accompanied by the guitar of singer-songwriter Miguel Aranda, she started reciting her poetry in several music venues and cultural associations of Barcelona. In 2012, she initiated with folk pop singer Tony Jimenez the project Las Deudas de Medea, musical poetry recitals where they merge their works. Olga's poetry emphasizes the importance of rhythm and cadence, which have led some Spanish singer-songwriters to turn several of her poems into songs. Please welcome now Olga.
Thank you very much for the invitation. La duda se ha instalado en los quicios de las puertas, impasible, roedora, manirrota y esperpéntica. Se anexiona a tus zapatos, se convierte en lanzadora de arrebatos intangibles, de conquistas inexactas, surcadora del vacío que controla las miradas y embelesa sin querer. La inocencia se ha colado por cajones atascados, malograda languidece, se fusila avergonzada, por perdida, por ajada, se empadrona en el polvido, se publica en una esquela, dando pistas al que llama, convencida que el deseo hace aguas cuando trata de afincarse en un colchón. Lo conforme ningunea el tributo al que disiente. Se disipa la mentira cuando omitimos del resumen lo que no se quiere oír, jugando a que somos dados que no pesan en conciencias, que se lanzan apostando por sueños ya poco urgentes, redenciones de uno mismo colgadas de la pared. El amor se ha convertido en ateo practicante, maquinaria de gusano que vacía la manzana y finge como algo duele si le cuentan que no existe cuando cantan el final. Medio loco, amoratado, contenido y asfixiado, sigue siendo requisito de cualquier formalidad. Y aún así vamos viviendo a remolque de las risas, como actores de vanguardia que han bordado su papel. Los felices 30 y tantos, satisfechos condenados a buscar siempre algo más. Y aún así nos relamemos las heridas en poemas, esperando que el que escucha sea nuestra salvación. Que hubo un tiempo para el rezo, las pieles de alambre, de anís el enjambre, de alquimia el saber, que no habrá quien te adore si ocultas cadalso, los pies invertidos son paz que no sana, cajón que se atasca y el consuelo es morir. Que hubo un tiempo sincopado, una astilla el pecado, contando misterios pasamos las horas, volteando la apuesta, barniz la trastienda de ser uno más. Que no habrá quien recuerde tanta luz en la noche. La torpeza, ese broche, es belleza que muere de amar sin querer. Que hubo un salto al vacío de fe con sentido. Se armaron los hilos, las tuercas del nido. Contando segundos, rituales, el mundo fue cayendo a los pies. Que no habrá quien nos robe ese tiempo de valientes, persistir en la muerte de flores marchitas, encajar la sonrisa y aprender a vivir. Que hay un tiempo sin agujas, enredados la ternura, como un gato y su madeja es la mínima certeza necesaria entre tanto revolver. Que no habrá quien nos sostenga cuando el pulso de esta entregua sea rueda de cenizas, comedor para polillas, sin razón. Contra todos los pronósticos dejaremos un buen día de existir. Contra el viento, contra corriente, contrincantes contrapuestos de contrabando de contrarios, contra el muro, contrastados con controversias, contrapicados, contra ofertas, contravenidas, controvertidas, contra voluntad, contra estados, contrarrestados por contraceptivos, contrayentes de contrapartidas, contradictorias a contraluz, contra paredes, contra palabras, contra puertas, contra ventanas, con contraseñas contrastadas por contribuyentes contrariados. Y contra tiempos y contra hechos, contra fuertes y contra bajos, contra tormentas, contra tornados, contraídos, contraeditados por contrasentidos, contraatacados, contratados por contrarreformas, para una contracultura, contrarreloj. Peleamos, con permiso de Bukowski, a la contra. Thank you.
These events are about listening to the poetry and music of language itself. We don't have to know the meaning of every single word of everything that we hear to enjoy the illusion of sound in each different language. And I think that was a really beautiful example there of poetic language from Olga. Maria Bartasova is a Slovakian who's made her home in Scotland and enjoyed a wide range of interest here for around 10 years. And Maria's choice of poem highlights an unfortunate issue with the internet, I think. It's called Rebel, and Maria discovered it on a website promoting and rating poems, where this one was especially popular. Now, that's all good and fine, but the sad thing is that the name of the poet who wrote it doesn't seem to have travelled online with their words. Still, the poem lives on, and Maria believes that it was written by a young woman, as there are clues in the choice of words in the Slovakian language, but she feels this poem resonates with all, young or old, who find themselves in a situation where they are different or think differently. And Maria likes that the author exposes the tendency to refuse another person if she thinks and feels differently. The feeling of rejection can be quite strong and damaging for everyone, regardless of age. We often forget that all of us are unique, and we should not only accept the fact, but welcome our diversity. Maria continues, maybe I chose this poem because it can touch deep inside our souls when we've been rejected and unloved, because we did not pretend to play by the actual system's established rules. Hear, hear, Maria Bartasova.
Rebel a jedna z tých. Som rebel. Jedna z tých, čo vravia pravdu a vidia chyby ostatných. Som rebel. Keď poviem nie, ale niekto chce počuť áno. Keď poviem, že je noc, ale ostatní chcú mať ráno. Som zlá. Keď tvrdím, že je tma ako v rožku, a rebel, keď si chcem obuť topánku na ponožku, a nie naopak. Som rebel, keď vravím, že je mi zima. Veď druhým je teplo. Je mi zima. Dotyky, čo by mali hriať, chladia. Chladia ako ľad, štípu ako mráz a bolia ako burinou zarastené polia, ktoré nikto nechce. Ani mňa nikto nechce, lebo som zlá, lebo som rebel. Som zlá, lebo nie som ako druhý, čo sa smejú slabším a u silnejších si robia dlhy. Som rebel, lebo nesmejem sa hlúpým vtipom svojho šéfa. Tvrdia, že som drzá, hlúpa kefa. Som zlá, škaredá, neposlušná, nežiadúca spoločnosti, vraj len na smetisko súca medzi ohodlané kosti a staré železo a lásku, ktorá nikdy nehrdzavie. Už zhrdzavela.
Thank you. Performer number 6, Preba Kurupu, hails originally from Sri Lanka and has found a new home in Glasgow. So far for 7 months, working with the National Drug Quality Assurance Laboratory under the Ministry of Health as a pharmaceutical analyst. She studied chemistry, loves music, especially singing. Here she volunteers for GCDT as a teaching assistant. She enjoys spending time with her family, and when they aren't around, she loves singing, trips and socialising with friends. This song is about a good king and his brother, but the brother's not so good. It's the bad brother who wants to kill the king to take the crown. He doesn't want to wait to become a king when he grows old. After his brother's death, he wants to be a king now. And that's why he wants to kill his sibling. Cheery soul. This song is about him planning to kill his brother, the king, and it's performed in Sinhalese. Primer, please.
Siri Sangha Bodhi Maliga Vedima Deka Prane Hani Venta Better them. Siri Sangha Bodhi Maliga Vedima Deka Prane Hani Venta Better them. Allah Bandaranda Inda Hunde Kundela Misinda and the Kale Maligave Inneva Bala. Allah Bandaranda Inda Hunde Kundela Misinda and the Kale Maligave Inneva Bala. Darmeshile Rakna Raja Lami Dindela. Darmeshile Rakna Raja Lami Sindela. Kola Hala Siddha Vente Kale Bosonda. Kola Hala Siddha Vente Kale Bosonda. Tejasara Silavanta Dharma Sangha Bodhi Raja Sangha Kara Lami Nere Malige Soya. Tejasara Silavanta Banga Kara Lami Nere Banga Kara Lami Nere Malige Soya. Siri Sangha Bodhi Maliga Vedima Deka Prane Hani Venta Better them. Siri Sangha Bodhi Maliga Vedima Deka Prane Hani Venta Better them. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan and Colm, very special people who attended these events and also performed at them. You may have seen Susan play flute, and Susan's husband, since last September, Colm, performed in Irish Gaelic at one of these things a year or two back. Sad to say that the latter years of Colm's short but exceptional life were marred by the fact that he had a brain tumour with the attendant complications that that brought. Susan and Colm were married by a humanist celebrant in Susan's garden last September, and the celebrant conducted Colm's funeral last week. We felt that tonight, in memory of our absent friend, Colm, and with thoughts of absent friends in a wider context, what we should do is make a collection at the end, and we asked Susan if there was a cause that she would like us to give all the funds that are raised tonight to, and it's called the Lord Dowding Fund for Humane Research, and it awards and distributes grants for advanced medical research, including into both cancer and mental illness, which is very pertinent, and they do not use animal testing, and they also support research into alternative testing methods. And Susan feels it fits well with how Colm tried to live his life. What she thought would be apposite to read was something that was actually read at Colm's funeral last week. He travelled quite extensively at one time in India and became very much enamoured of the work of a philosopher and poet called Rabindranath Tagore, who lived between 1861 and 1941, and whose works continue to affect new listeners and readers along the way. And Susan asked that this be read out in memory of Colm at Verse Universe tonight. It's called The Gardener. Who are you, reader, reading my poems 100 years hence? I cannot send you one single flower from this wealth of the spring, one single streak of gold from yonder clouds. Open your doors and look abroad. From your blossoming garden, gather fragrant memories of the vanished flowers of 100 years before. In the joy of your heart, may you feel the living joy that sang one spring morning, sending its glad voice across 100 years. We remember Colm.